Question number 3. By using a scale of 2 cm to 1 hour on the horizontal axis and 2 cm to 20 workers on the vertical axis, construct a histogram and frequency polygon on the same graph to represent the data. So you are given the table, number of hours of sleep per day and numbers of workers. So now we need to construct a histogram. So the frequency highest is 90 and lowest is 2, so we need at least above 90 for the frequency. Now we need to find a midpoint for number of hours of sleep per day. So let's label let's say we use the upper boundary to draw. So the upper boundary is we copy the upper limit, we copy the 5.04, 6.04, 7.04, 8.04, 9.04, 10.04, and the last one is 11.04. But now I would like to explain to you why there is a red one, red 0.005 being added, because this is the boundary. So boundary, we will take the 0.0, okay, we will take 0.01 divided by 2. So you get 0.005, 0.005. For the first upper boundary, we just minus out 1 from the second one, which is actually 4.045. Right, so make sure the boundary is correct. You must know how to use the upper boundary to form the histogram. So the first one is actually lower boundary followed by upper boundary, right? So we will then label the frequency, and then we will draw a horizontal line and form a rectangle to draw the histogram. So that's how we draw the histogram. We don't use a cross, or we don't use a point to form the rectangle. We use a line, okay? So let's try to plot the rectangle shape for each of the class using the lower and upper boundary. All right, so basically you have to check the frequency. Make sure when you draw the histogram, the frequency is tally with the one in the table that I highlighted in green color. Always double check. All right, so that is actually the histogram drawn using the boundary. Now let's try to draw the frequency polygon from the histogram, which looks a bit easier. We just focus to the midpoint to form the straight line. Okay, so you can see I'm labeling the midpoint using the small circle, right? The small circle showing the midpoint for each of the class interval. And you notice that for the initial and the ending, right, I have to add on my own. So we have to find the midpoint for the initial and the ending for the frequency polygon. Then we must use a ruler to connect all the midpoint to form a straight line. It is compulsory to use a ruler to draw the straight line to connect all the midpoint to form a frequency polygon. Please label the midpoint if possible for the initial and the ending midpoint to show that we are using midpoint to draw the frequency polygon. And last but not least, for all the graph, we need to label. Labeling of the vertical axis and the horizontal axis is compulsory. Okay, so no labeling will actually cause your graph will be deducted the marks. So for the horizontal axis is actually number of hours. Okay, and the vertical axis is actually number of workers, right? So we need to label clearly the unit, especially, okay, the unit of the graph for the vertical axis and for the horizontal axis. If hours, you have to state the hours, all right? If it is number of workers, you have to state number of workers. Okay, so let's label number of workers. So in order to ensure the graph is perfect, we always add the title of the graph on top of the graph to tell the information about the graph. So this graph is actually about the number of workers and the number of the hours sleep per day, or number of hours sleep per day for the workers. So we can add a suitable title to represent the graph so that people can have a good understanding of the information from the graph. So that's all my sharing about how to draw the histogram and frequency polygon on the same axis. Till then, I shall share with you more video on how to plot the histogram and frequency polygon. Bye bye and have a nice day.